deserve to have the best physical, mental, spiritual, Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Thanks for joining us again on this Monday evening. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, Jacksonville Beach to be specific, and the weather's actually pretty nice. A really nice day today. Yesterday was a real long day for me, but it was an awesome day. I was able to go to the Jaguars game as a Legends member, of course. Legends referring to alumni or retired players, old guys, in other words. Even better, I was actually in the owner suite for the first half, and so took a buddy of mine that purchased some tickets to what later we did yesterday was the University of Florida and University of Miami basketball game. The Florida-Miami basketball game was played in Jacksonville at the arena, right across the parking lot from the stadium. So we went down there early in the morning yesterday, and 11 o'clock or so to tailgate, and then go to the game and have a great time. Jaguars won. They knocked off the Chargers 35-6, I believe was the score. Go Jaguars. We won after that dismal performance last week in the fourth quarter against the Texans. So I was happy to see that we came out with a victory there. Then after that, of course, my buddy's got some money, and so he decided he was going to get a hotel downtown in Jacksonville for us to kill some time between the Jaguar game and the basketball game, of course. And he got the presidential suite in Hyatt, so we're up there looking down out the balcony at Shad Khan's Kismet. So Shad Khan is the owner of the Jaguars. His boat, we call it a little rowboat, but it's one of the top 5 most expensive yachts in the world. The thing is like 7 stories tall. I've been on the boat twice. It's crazy. That boat was parked right there in the St. Johns River there in downtown Jacksonville, right outside of the Hyatt. So super cool. I'll post some videos of it. It was pretty awesome scenery there. And then of course went and sat courtside for the basketball game, the college basketball game. So that's my first experience sitting courtside at any sort of game like that. I thought it was really cool, super cool. I've been to an NBA game a time or two, I think down in Orlando, and maybe one other else. So maybe in Utah, I think I went to one. But my point is that great experience. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but great experience being out there and enjoying it. Courtside, it was super cool. Even like playing in the NFL, you're on the sidelines and you see the action right there, right in front of you. But it's much like that with the basketball, of course. So you're right there getting in the middle of everything, and super fun, a lot of fun. I might be looking a little tired today because it was a long day yesterday, and kind of a lazy day today because of the long day yesterday. But I did get some work done. But wanted to mention we're going to talk tonight about detox. I don't know if anybody's ever done detox. There is a major I guess, I don't know, the type of willpower that people have is good and bad. Like I've heard of people doing, trying to do at least, fasting and detox through fasting, basically what I was saying, not necessarily detox, basically fasting. And that primary reason, one of them, well, there's many benefits, health benefits to fasting. But the detox is kind of the major one that I've always kind of really wanted to make sure I'm getting in my body and stuff. But I actually Googled all the benefits of fasting. Now it could be intermittent fasting. There's all kinds of different types of fasting. I've done a bunch of different kinds, and the detox fasting regimen that I've done a few times is a thing called the Master Cleanse. It's not very tasty or good in my opinion. I'm not a big cayenne pepper fan. I don't like spices that much, even though I know they're good for you in some cases, of course, but and I have a lot of benefits. But with regards to, this actual recipe in the Master Cleanse, it's distilled water, real maple grade A syrup, okay, cayenne pepper, and then freshly squeezed lemon juice. I can't remember the ratio, mostly water clearly, but it's a tea basically, or a cold drink that you just drink throughout the day. And when you get hungry, you just eat it or drink it. I say eat it, but you drink it, and it takes care of those cravings for a little while. But we'll get into a lot more details. I'll share this list with you guys when we return after a brief moment from words from our sponsor, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about fasting and detoxing.
At 3, we want to give you the true health benefits that you're paying for, something you can feel and see a difference quickly. Each product is packed with powerful plant-based nutrients that are combined through a proprietary curation process and then infused with innovative cellular absorption technologies to ensure the nutrients absorb into the cells for maximum wellness. The quality and effectiveness of our life-changing products is evident by their approval to be included in the well-known Prescriber's Digital Reference, or PDR. PDR has been a valuable resource to the medical doctors and providers in the healthcare community for decades. Our products are GMO-free, clinically studied, and third-party tested, all designed to support health and proactive wellness for everyone.
So as I was talking a little bit about the concept of fasting, we get involved into this list of benefits that I actually Googled to see. There's a lot of them, so I'll just kind of read them off to you. But metabolic and physical health, there's 3 categories basically. So the first category, metabolic and physical health, which includes weight loss and fat burning. I'll watch out for that one because clearly when you fast, your body starts to kind of eat fat and kind of use stored fat for energy and different things. And so you do naturally lose some weight and muscle as well. But however, again, here comes the willpower thing. Last fast I did was a 4-day fast. It was 100 hours, and I didn't eat anything. I didn't do the tea or anything like that. The drink that I was mentioning, the Master Cleanse, I didn't do that. I just did not eat anything. I just drank a bunch of water, and I did my vitamins every day, but I didn't eat anything for 4 days, basically 100 hours. And that one, was you lose a little weight on these things. You got to be careful. What I was referring to is when you get back on them, you tend to want to eat a lot of, maybe some junk food, clearly because it's going to taste really good and you're starving. So, why not? But you got to be disciplined. And that's why I was saying, with regards to people's willpower, like how much willpower do you have? Like you have to make sure that you're able to withstand the urge in the temptation to eat, because that's our natural instinct really as humans, is to eat when we feel hunger and go from there. But again, when I'm referring to the weight loss and the fat burning process, it's good, but you got to watch out for it, because again, you're going to start eating food when you get back on your diet. They do recommend, even with the Master Cleanse, the longer the detox is, the longer the fasting goes. What really, when you get back on regular food, and this is the hardest part about the Master Cleanse, is the fact that you had to start with like vegetable juice, like carrot juice and some fruits and things like that. Just a very mild sort of thing. You still can't eat for the first couple 2 or 3 days in going back into your normal diet. And of course, you can pick a little bit here and there and eat some good stuff, fruits and vegetables, of course. But they really are sticker about getting involved in juicing your foods and eating those fruits and vegetables, of course, for that. So be careful with the yo-yo type of thing. That's really kind of where I'm going with that, as far as having that ability to gain that weight back. That I do intermittent fasting for multiple reasons, but one is so I can get kind of back if I've been eating crappy or whatever, and I want to I need to restart and a refresh, and that's what I do. And so now I tell myself when I get back on my regular diet, I'm going to not eat like I did prior to the 4 days or 100 hours of the fast I just did, because it kind of ruins it kind of defeats the whole purpose, really. If you're just going to put a bunch of junk food back in your body, detoxing is, is good at the time, but you're just going right back to where you were before. So the other one, improved insulin sensitivity. That's another good one. Heart health, really good for your heart. Reduced inflammation and gut health. And then in the brain and cellular health section of the benefits, cellular repair. That's where it's called autophagy. So it triggers this autophagy and the natural cellular cleanup. So it's cleaning up your cells. I love that part of it too, because you just feel naturally better after a fasting period and detox. Enhanced brain function, that's another good one. And then going into the longevity and well-being, increases longevity, of course, with your life, and getting better sleep is another one, of course. And the last one would be the mental clarity and self-control. So basically what happens is your body goes into this mode where it starts to, and I've even heard it does some good for cancer even. Whether you have it or not, or whether you have it or not, it's going to go in there and kill some of those cancer cells, because again, your body's kind of eating itself. And so what's going to find first is the things that it needs to get rid of, and it'll get those cells and rejuvenate and rebuild the whole body in a sense where the cells are going to get rejuvenated and lit up again, in a sense where they're natural again, back to kind of just getting back to your natural body function and the way we're supposed to be on a daily basis. Now I'm always big on just the environments we live in. I'm looking out the window now, and again, I'm about the calm trails. You can call it conspiracy or not. I think people are starting to kind of see that these calm trails are actual poison that these planes are emitting into the skies. And so my point with saying all that is that now I don't see any today, but now they're kind of talking. Well, we're in a situation where this is falling from the sky. We can't avoid it. And that's what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of things in our daily lives that we can't avoid, and we have to do the best we can to kind of take care of ourselves as much as possible, given the environment that we're living in. And I've been a huge advocate of kind of sharing with people that our foods aren't the greatest foods ever. United States of America is the sickest country in the world. And we got big pharma, we got all these pills and things that people take for problems that happen because of things like this, environment and pollution and processed foods and all a bunch of junk that we're eating, sugars and all that stuff. So we are having to take care of ourselves in a natural way. I want to be as natural as possible, and so that's where I'm a very I like to think holistically. I want to think your body's meant to heal itself. And if you do it the right way, your body's going to appreciate that, because if you do it the other ways, again, you're just masking, issues with the pills that some people are popping. They're having to take pills for a certain condition that they've developed, and then they got to take a different pill for this condition because of the pill they just took. And there's, all the side effects and things like that. So you get yourself into a rabbit hole when you start, getting unhealthy and start relying on Big Pharma to take care of you. I think that's the worst decision you could ever do. I've told people, I said, listen, I think your healthcare would be a lot less expensive in the long run, over time, if you just, stay away from the pills and, eat healthy and be healthy. Of course, it starts with that, but don't always, have to, take a pill for a certain problem you have. There's other ways of and remedies, really natural remedies of fixing these things. Detoxing is one of them. So getting back to the whole fasting concept, 24-hour fast, you got a 4-hour fast, you got a 3-day fast. There's all kinds of different days. The longest fast that I've been on was 10 days. And that was the first master cleanse thing I did. And I had to have willpower because I was coaching my son's flag football team at the time. And of course, after every game and practice, sometimes he'd take the kids to our head coach would Rick, his name was, and he would take, very wealthy guy, and he would take the kids to ice cream and things like that. But after every game, we typically go, get some pizza or something, right? So I remember going to a Brucci's Pizza down in Ponte Vedra after one of our games, and I think it was just the only game I guess during my time of fasting. And I literally had my drink sitting in front of me in this gallon jug. And I'm just looking around at everybody eating their pizza. And I'm just like, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. But, it's a mindset, you just gotta, think you're not going to die. The pizza smells good. I'm sure it tastes great. Kids are having a great time and you can't eat the pizza. But again, that's the kind of willpower you have to have in order to do a good sustained, fast like that, of course. And again, once you get back into your normal diet after those fastings, you got to really make sure that you're not indulging in like McDonald's or anything really crappy like that, because you get in a situation where your stomach's not going to like it. And it's really, obviously when you're starving, and I'm sure everyone kind of realizes this, knows, but when you're hungry, your food, when you eat food after being hungry for a long time, your body is like, oh, okay, great, we got food, let's go store it now. because we got to prepare for the next time he decides to fast, So your body's in a natural storing, pattern. It's always wanting to store, energy and fat for energy later on and so forth. And so you want to make sure that you're not feeding your body, fueling your body with a bunch of junk that's going to be stored in your body for later use, right? So just ultimately, with regards to just the fasting and the detoxing, it really comes down to restarting your body, re-energizing your body. I just read you a list of all the health benefits. There's probably many, many more on top of that, but understand that that's my opinion, of course. I believe that fasting should be part of your yearly routine. We'll say now you can fast once a year. I do intermittent fasting. I don't have a schedule. I just think about it when I'm like, I probably should do a fast now. Maybe I've, had some bad foods and just kind of got into a little craze where I was eating some junk food at times. This time of the year is kind of one of those times that I like to fast because, again, Halloween just happened and I still have some candy left over. I've been nibbling at it a little bits and pieces here and there, but I just want to make, I don't want to eat that food, but it's here and I'm not a very wasteful person at all whatsoever. I was just taught that way, very, resourceful and make sure that I'm not going to, because my mom always taught me, you got to eat what's on your plate. We're not throwing away, of course. And then what's ever left over, we're going to put in the fridge and we're going to have leftovers. And I was just growing up that way and I loved it. So, that's the thing too, is like, with regards to just, understanding, not wasting food. Yes, but I'm also not doing some, good for my body. And so that's something I probably should do a better job at, honestly. So, is to avoid those foods and even purchasing those foods. Because if I purchase those foods and have a bunch available, the last thing I'm going to do is throw them away. I'm not going to throw away food because, it's just bad food. I bought the food. I'm going to eat it. I want to be, resourceful and make sure that I'm not throwing stuff away like that. So, but again, you're giving your body a new, refresh after a detox. And again, that mental clarity is one of those things that popped out of me too. When I first did these, I'm like, wow, I can actually think better. Things just seemed a little bit better. And I wasn't as sluggish and I slept harder, but again, you get right back into that routine after you get on a regular diet. And the goal is, I think everybody should understand and try to do this at least, is when you're getting back on the regular diet, is to be really mindful of what you're putting back in your body, because you just did your body a favor. Why ruin that by throwing a bunch of junk in your body? So make sure that you maintain some discipline, obviously, after fasting, because you don't want to, your stomach may not like you at all. I got an iron stomach, so I can eat anything. I didn't have any problems. I remember one fast I did, was like a 3 or 4 day fast a few years back, I think. I kind of indulged in some crappy food right after, and I was like, I hope I don't regret this, but I didn't. And again, that's a blessing in disguise. Not really a blessing in disguise, it's a curse, really, because I don't want to know that my stomach can handle anything, because then again, I'll just eat it. Then, when I have any problems with it, I'll put it in my mouth. But that's the thing too, is like just being disciplined about what you're eating and knowing, you don't want to just ruin what you just did, good things for your body. So again, understand what detox and fasting can do for your body. On social media, they grab your algorithm. The algorithm kind of catches everything that you're kind of watching, and if you're staying on videos about certain things, you'll start to see more of those same kind of subject videos. And fasting has been one that's been in my algorithm on Instagram lately. So I've been watching a lot of fasting material. So I'm definitely intrigued. These scientists and doctors are incredibly smart when it comes to this kind of stuff, and when they understand and they kind of teach you and make you aware of the benefits of fasting, you'll start to realize that, and the other thing I want to point something out as well is I think we've been conditioned to get on a routine of eating 3 meals a day, and there's all kinds of things that we've kind of been conditioned to do. And in reality, you think about the old days, even when, cavemen around, that they didn't eat for days at a time. And that was just the way they did. They ate one day, and then they were like 3 days in a row, they weren't eating. And they, just eat very sparingly. And so I think as a society, we've been kind of conditioned, to, again, when you start eating a lot of food, your body is expecting you to, eat more food later on. And so I think it triggers your hunger. And you're going to be hungry the more you eat. not in that specific time frame. I'm referring to more food, more volume of food, more times a day. Your body's going to get used to that, and of course you're going to run into some problems with digestion and things like that. But your body starts to get used to it, and it triggers that hunger in you to eat again. And so the second you feel hungry, I better go eat. You can't imagine, and maybe you can. If you're driving down the road, just looking, at cars. I stoplights. I'll look over and see. I like people watch. People are constantly putting stuff in their mouth, whether it's a sippy cup, a Slurpee from 7-Eleven, or if it's maybe some peanuts, maybe something, at least somewhat healthy, or, coffee or something. People always have to have, and to me, I don't understand it. I know that there's, again, I think that's conditioning. I think people get conditioned to do that. And so another reason why we need to fast and detox is because we are constantly eating and constantly putting our bodies, fueling our bodies with foods that aren't really meant for us. And in all honesty, there's a lot of really, really bad food out there. And I can just say the saying again, it makes so much sense to me. And once you hear it, you're like, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. If you go to the grocery store and the grocery store has a health food section, what does that make the rest of the store? Like not healthy, processed clearly. So they tell you when you with your diet what you really want to focus on, and when you're what kind of food you want to eat. You want to stay away from anything that's in a package. Anything that's been packaged and sealed, and you understand, not like fruits and stuff like that have been packaged and so forth. But I'm referring to anything that's been, it's in a can, that's been packaged, that's been, frozen, that's doesn't have to be refrigerated. That's another thing too. So because obviously on the opposite side of that, there's a lot of foods that go bad. Like good foods go bad faster, but that's good. You've seen that. You've probably seen many examples of this when people will have a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries, like a Happy Meal or something, for sitting in their closet for like 20 years. And it doesn't look any different than it did the day they bought it 20 years ago. And that's disgusting. Think of all the preservatives are in everything in that. It wasn't just part of it, rotted and so forth. None of it did. That's gross. So, again, think about the fasting, do some research, understand what fasting really, really is and what it can do for your body, and understand the detox benefits of that as well. And that's a huge deal, especially for people who have been on, like myself. I think the first time I did the Master Cleanse was after taking years of Advil for my back. And it was after I retired from football. I'm like, what? I've been taking drugs from, the team as far as anti-inflammatories, and then my Advil that I would take all day long, like candy. Not that bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I know my body, my liver was just like, man, this is getting old. And so that's one reason why I did the first time I did the Master Cleanse. But understand, if you were that kind of person that's been putting a lot of stuff in your body that you know is probably toxic. And again, you walk outside and look at the crap coming down from the sky. You can, understand that we're getting kind of poisoned in a sense, where I think that there's a lot of not good stuff in the air because of that, but again, I could go all, off subject on that, but I don't want to. But I do have to get going, and I do have to go coach. So I'm going to kind of cut this one a little bit short. But again, just understand what detox can do for you, and more specifically fasting. And understand that there's going to have some willpower. You're going to have some willpower, and you can't cheat. And here's the thing too with fasting, and this is maybe a kind of a tip. The first couple of days can be kind of hard. And again, the other thing too with detoxing is there's some side effects to detoxing. You maybe have a runny nose, you might have a little bit of a slight headache, you might feel a little nauseous. But those are actual good things, because that's proof that your body is actually going through a deep detox mode, and you're detoxing your cells and getting your body back to where it's trying to be, naturally. So those are good things. But the first couple of days are kind of hard. As far as hunger, after the first couple of days, it's not as bad. And I'm telling you, you got to stay busy. Get your mind out of, get out of your house, because that's the worst place you can be if you're trying to fast. Even though I don't do a lot of work outside my house other than coaching, but I do most of my work in my house. I'm disciplined enough, except for the candy that's right behind me. You can't see it, but it's right behind me. But instead of, except for that Halloween candy, but that's only like one time a year for the most part. So I give myself some grace. with that. But understand the importance of detoxing and fasting and what it could do for you. So with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing night. Watch some football tonight, some Monday Night Football, and we'll definitely see you guys next Monday night on Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Have a good night.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.